Hello and welcome back. My name is Colton from Ankeny Van Builds, and today I'm going to be showing you how to frame out your Ford Transit. Framing it out is probably one of the most important things you can do, so make sure you have a good idea of what your layout is going to be, so that way you know where to structure your walls and things like that. So without wasting any more of your guys' time, help me out, like the video, subscribe down below, and leave a comment. Doesn't matter what the comment is, and let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So as far as tools that I'm going to use, I'm probably going to be using the whole arsenal today, but mainly impact driver, a drill, set of drill bits. I'm going to be relying heavily on this Craig pocket jig. Probably going to need a jigsaw at some point today. Caulking gun with some construction adhesive, and I'm going to be using self-tapping screws. So here's the type of screws that I like to use. 7/16. I don't know if it's ever going to focus here. There we go, 7/16 inch self-tapping screws, wood to metal. I used these on the last two vans and they worked great. Definitely going to be using the chop saw a ton, and most likely going to be using this table saw. And as far as plywood, I got a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood for the ceiling. Probably won't be using the whole thing, just a couple strips out of it. And then the rest of the walls, I'm going to be ripping this 3/4 inch plywood, and that's going to make up all of the vertical walls. Now, last time I posted this, I got a million questions asking the difference between self-tapping screws and the plus nuts. I think both of them are excellent options. The plus nuts are going to be stronger of a hold for sure. They're also a lot more time consuming and a little bit more expensive. So for the plus nuts, you got to find out exactly where you're going to put each individual plus nut, drill it, use that little crimper tool, and then line your board up, find where the hole is, drill the hole in the board, thread your bolt through it, and then tighten it down. Whereas a self-tapper screw, you simply just line up the board where you want it, you punch a screw into it, and then you reinforce it that way. I like to do an extra bit of security by doing some construction adhesive behind the board to the metal, so that even if the screw starts to come loose, the construction adhesive will still hold it in place. So I hope that clears that up for all those people who had those same questions. Alright, so what I started to do here is with the 3/4 inch plywood, this is going to be all the vertical walls. I ripped an entire sheet of 4 foot by 8 foot plywood down to about 2.5 inch strips, and then I got two boards that are about 5 inches. Those will be for the header right up along those back panels. I'll have those right at about 5 inches. That should make things a lot easier to mount stuff to. But for the ceiling, what I started doing here is all the 1/2 inch sheet, again ripped 6 strips at 2.5 inches, and I cut them all down to 61.5 inches long. And then using those self-tapping screws and the construction adhesive on the back side, I started throwing in a bunch of these screws here so that there's no wiggle, there's no flex, and that it matches the curve of the van. So the entire reason I chose 1/2 inch for the ceiling, one, is to save some headroom, and two is because of how much it needs to curve. So using this 1/2 inch with the self-tapping screws, and I don't know if you can see it up here, but the construction adhesive, just in case one or two of these screws decide to wiggle itself loose, the construction adhesive should also help hold it in place. Very rare that these screws will come loose, as long as you do it right. So I've noticed using these screws, and I've used them for the last two vans that I've built out, if you drill too quickly with them, that self-tapping drill will sometimes drill too big of a hole, and the screw will loosely spin in place. If that happens to you, just pull the screw out, find a different spot, drill slower, and you want it to actually seat in so that the screw is flush with the board itself. If it's not, and the head is just spinning freely and it's not tight in there, you don't have the best hold with that screw, so you want to make sure you back it out, find a different spot. Like you see, I've done it here a few times already, where I either found a hole on the back side of here, or the screw just wouldn't hold it in place. Alright, so up here above the headliner, I just sandwiched a board underneath the headliner itself. I pre-drilled through the headliner and drove the screw right through it. So then when I go to put the boards in, it'll actually go tuck in right along this line right here on the bottom edge of this headliner and go through that into the wood here, and that's what should hold it in place. So that was fairly easy to put in. And then the plan for all this wiring up here is I'm going to have it tuck in underneath these boards here, and when I have the horizontal boards that come out, it'll come out 3/4 of an inch, and then the wall panel itself will come up and butt up against this, and it'll have a nice little pocket for it to go, and it's already wrapped in some conduit, so it's already nice and neat. So that's the plan for that. So now what we're going to do is on these outside beams come across all the way from side to side, up top, down here as well. We'll do the horizontal pieces first and then the vertical. So with most of these horizontal pieces already cut, we went ahead and made all these vertical pieces and put some pocket hole screws in them. So what we'll do here is on the top we'll put some wood glue on it, put it in place, and with the pocket holes, making sure that the front face of it is flush with the horizontal pieces. We're going to go ahead and do that throughout the entire van. So let me give you guys just a little bit of a close-up on everything that we did today. So again, how this is going to work is the wiring is going to be tucked underneath here. That way the ceiling boards will come down past it and the wall board will come up and cover it just like that. So it'll have its own little pocket for itself, and it'll be nice and safe and tucked away out of sight. Over here we just reinforcing stuff for the walls. This is going to hold a cabinet up here and hold some cabinets down lower, but you can tell we really put that pocket jig to work. Same with over on this side. I have to figure out what I'm going to do here. This metal is a different material of some sort. I know that the railing for the door goes behind it, but no matter what I did, I cannot get anything to go, any of those self-tapping screws to go through this. So the ceiling boards will come down about 3/4 of an inch, so it's only going to leave a little strip. So I'll figure out some better way to trim that out when the time comes. But up here, I got one of those 5-inch boards to cover up the whole top piece. The wall board will come up just like this. Ceiling will come in just like that, nice and flush. Use pocket hole screws on this side even more. So this left a ton of area for the flare space, which I'll show you guys how I do that later. It's got a trim kit that's going to go on the outside of the walls that we put on, and then all this is going to get some auto carpet decal that I'll do. It's just an adhesive and it sticks right to it. So that's what's going to go on around there. I'll probably have to make an angled piece that comes in across like this to support that part of it, but that's easy enough. But overall, today was a great day getting this whole thing framed out. So all in all, I think today was a great day, very successful. We got a lot done. I'm going to end this video here, but if you haven't already, make sure, if this video helped you at all, to like the video, leave a comment down below. That really helps this video get out to more people. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.